Welcome back. Today we're working on the canceling cam on the turn signal. I took off the old one, broke it all off. It was a little hard to get off, so it was easier to break it off. Um, it was hard because of that piece of metal in there, and then this wire I was trying not to break it. I was trying to save it because it has a little piece that goes behind the canceling cam with a spring. So I was just trying not to cut that wire, so I just broke the piece around it. It was pretty old anyway. But now I got to put on the new piece and try to figure out a way to put this on. It goes in through the back and pushes in, and then the wire that I just showed you clips on the other side of it when it's installed. So I just got to figure out a way to do that. But let's get started. So before putting on the new canceling cam, I had to strip these wires and add some solder to them. So that's what I'm gonna do, and then they're kind of long. I left them kind of long just to make sure I had enough wire, but there should be enough room behind the turn signal, right where the turn signal lever goes, in here, right, that hole right there. That's where it goes, and there should be enough room around there to tuck in the wires. Have enough room to screw it in and fit it nicely. I'm not going to show when I solder because I suck at it. Okay, so now I'm done soldering, and I got to fit this. This is where the turn signal lever goes through. You got to fit this in through the new canceling cam, but it has this steel washer where you got to take it off first because that's how it was held on to the old one. Anyway, you got to fit it through here. So you got to take off that steel washer. It's like a rectangular washer, and fit it through here. Okay, so I got the new canceling cam on there. Turns out that I didn't have to save that brown wire, the one that goes from here, connects there. I didn't have to save that. That doesn't connect to anything on 68 Mustangs, that or the yellow with the black. So I put this on with the new washer. I put it on with a socket. So I just went and found a socket around, a small socket around the same size as the washer. I was trying to press it in with my hand. I couldn't. So this is the one I found that fit the best. So I just used something on the back of it, like I was using that weight there, but put it on here. It fits nicely around the washer. Just gave it a few bangs, and it was able to withstand it. So now it's not going anywhere. It's nice and solid. So it seemed like a little stiff. I think it doesn't fit. I mean, it turns fine, but see, it's not going anywhere. But I think the turn signal switch, when I put it on, it doesn't really click back, so I don't think it should be that tight. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what I mean now. I'm gonna put on the turn signal lever, and then I'm gonna click it into, like, if I put the left or right signal, and there's round plastic, I don't know what it's called, actuator or something, but it's in the middle, and it shouldn't be this hard to turn it back. So when you click it into place, this turns here, and those they're supposed to release it, but you see how hard I'm trying. It shouldn't take this much effort. So I'm trying here to release the turn signal lever, and look how hard it is. So it's the hooks. They're like, they got a good grip on the plastic, so that's how much effort to take. It shouldn't take that much. I know there's an aftermarket part, so that's most likely the problem, but I'm just gonna try to fix that. So I'm gonna grind down these hooks. I feel they're a little too long. It's taking too much pressure to release them once the turn signal's on. So I'm just gonna grind them down on both sides, and once I'm done, it should make it a little bit easier when you turn the wheel, just to snap them off. I don't want anything to end up breaking again. Alright, so I finished grinding them up. I'm happy with the results. I don't think I took off too much. See, it still hooks on pretty well right there, but it'll be easier to snap off once I turn the wheel, when the signal's on. So I think I'll leave it like that and put on the wheel and give it a try. And check out what I found. I was going through some tools, and I found this Mustang in a glass that I bought overseas when I was on deployment back in, I believe it was 2001. It was either 99 or 2001, but I remember I got this once after I got my Mustang, and I just thought it was awesome. Anyway, I thought it was pretty cool. But back to it. So when you put it on the steering wheel, you want to line up. There's like a tab and a slot here on the steering wheel. So there's a slot on the steering wheel and a tab in here in the column. You want to line both of those up when you put it back, just so you know, so everything works correctly. The canceling cam cancels when it needs to. So all you got to do is, just look at it from the side wherever you can, line up the tab with the slot, and then push in the steering wheel. Okay, so we're back in the car, back in the Mustang. I'm gonna have to put the steering wheel here to test the signal that everything works well. And check out these guys. Ugh. I think those are from Brown Widow. I've seen a few of those around the house, so those are nasty. Anyway, we gotta replace the pan there. Just look around right now how it looks, because later on it's gonna end up looking nice. That pan is all rusted out. I got a replacement right there, so I'm gonna replace that myself. I don't know how to weld or anything, but I'll do it anyway. Okay, so the lower part of the steering shaft is already in there with the rag joint. It's on the gearbox. I'm gonna have to put that through the column into the upper piece here. So that's what I'm gonna work on. I'm gonna try to get it on there just to have my steering wheel back in. So I came under the car to mess with the shaft and saw this. I got a leak under the power steering slave cylinder. Good thing is the bushings I bought for it come with the seal kit, so I'm gonna be doing that as well. Alright, so it took me a while to figure this out, but when you're trying to put on the joint, the rag joint, there's a little space in between those gears, the shaft coming out of the gearbox. So that's where you gotta line up the hole for that bolt. You see that curve in the middle between? That's where the bolt has to go. Otherwise, you cannot get it in there. So you gotta line it up in the middle, and then push in where the bolt has to be in the middle in that curved spot, just so you could tighten it up. Okay, so here I got it lined up. I think that should be good. As you see, it's closer now. The rag joint is closer to the gearbox, and that's where the bolt's gonna go. All right, so I needed both hands to do it, but there you go. There's the bolt. Put it in through where it's supposed to go right here, and was able to tighten it. So I ended up having to pull the shaft from the rag joint, the part that connects to the rag joint, and put it on here. So to connect the whole shaft together on the steering column, because it was way too hard to get in there. Took off the 2 bolts that hold the rag joint to the shaft, the lower part of the shaft, and had to put it on here. That's the only way I can think of putting it on there. It's way too difficult, for me at least, to try to put it all together in 2 pieces. So I'd rather just deal with 1 piece. So I'm back under the car, and now I put the shaft through, and it's much easier this way. The rag joint is there, the shaft connected it to there. Now I just got to put the nuts on the 2 bolts. I'm gonna need both hands to do it, but the bolts are right up there. If you see it, through that sunlight. Put the nut through there. There's one on the lower side and on the other opposite side, and that should make it a lot easier. Alright, so steering wheel's back on. It feels pretty good, feels pretty tight. We'll see how it feels when I put the car back down. But let me test the turn signal. So at least it locks now. Before it didn't, and yes, it releases. So feels a lot better than it did before. Here we go the other way. Same thing, works good. I can deal with the clicking noises. Not a big deal. For $12 just to change that part, not a big deal. So here's the old sway bar bushings and the new ones right next to them from Moog. So that's what I'm going to be using to replace. Now this thing here was a nightmare for me. Had trouble getting it off of here, the center link. I mean, I banged it. I watched other people easily take these off. I had to use the Pitman arm puller. Put it at an angle. I had to take off the starter from up higher right there to get some room to do this, but once I did that, it pulled it off. Then I had trouble with the nut because I had been hammering it. Kind of messed up the threads, I think. So we'll see what happens there. But I was able to take off the nut, and we're gonna get working on it. Hopefully take care of this leak. Okay, so I got all the new seals in there. Something I'm not going to show just because there's so many videos on it already, but taking them off was a pain. I mean, broke off almost everything just trying to take it off. And the reason, mine had a big old like a ring, a lip around it, but it was so big it looked like a washer. I mean, I looked at other people's videos how they did it, because I mean I'm learning how to do this, and they didn't have anything like that. I had to grind mine down with the Dremel, kind of smooth it out, and then at an angle just to make it very easy. So I mean, I figure nothing holds on to there. I mean, if the seals come out, I'm in trouble anyway, so this should be good. It was easier to put them back in, and we should be good now. I put them in the order they're supposed to go. So I did end up messing up the threads. I smashed them all up when I tried to hammer it out of there, out of the center link. Now you can see I kind of like dremeled it off. I brought another bolt just to compare the threads, how they start and everything, and I did the same here. Shaved away some of the metal, but now the nut goes in smoothly. It was getting stuck, does it no more. So it's a different day. I'm putting the power steering cylinder, slave cylinder back on. Pretty hard to do it with one hand, so I end up, just finish it up with two, but basically put the nut back in, was able to screw it back and put in the cotter pin. So I'm going to be reattaching the cylinder to the lines. I believe they're half size. You need a wrench, half size wrench. I lost mine, so I'm using a crescent. I learned from reading on other forums and watching other videos, it's a good way to stop these things from leaking is to put in like some earplugs, which I did here. So you don't get too much of a leak. You're still gonna get a leak, but less of one. And then you can turn the steering wheel to get the cylinder closer, the rod, the shaft, get it closer to the bracket, sorry, and work with it there. So I ended up pulling the shaft back out just because I needed more room. To pull out the shaft, I didn't have enough to catch the nut. So what you do here is you just put the washer, the bushing. It comes with a spacer. Put all that first. So washer, bushing, spacer, and then on the other side you put the other bushing and the other washer. Tighten it up, and then put in the retaining nut. So that'll do it for this video. Thank you so much for taking the time. I hope you stick with me on this journey as we get my 68 back up and running. And I hope to see you next time.